Alive and in living color.
Good morning.
Morning. What's going on, man?
So how was the night?
No, I can't hear you. Can you
Okay,
speak
so
louder?
my topic is curing violence using a psychological approach. Right? You got it?
I think your microphone is a little like
Yeah,
low or something.
yeah.
Okay, curing violence using a psychological approach.
Mm,
No, I can't hear you, buddy. Yep.
Huh?
Alive and in living color. Good boy.
Yeah, so it's
Here we go.
curing violence using a psychological approach. You hear me now?
Oh
Yes, loud and clear.
yeah. Curing violence using a psychological approach. Okay.
Yeah.
Like what? Like therapy and stuff?
No, well, yeah. So psychology is basically like stop. Give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, so psychology, like basically like studying someone's mental structure and also the behavior, right? You hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think like if you like set up like these like in the communities you set up like different organizations, right? So since when a child is young you start to monitor them, like monitor their behavior and take into consideration their family background and other stuff. So once like your trained psychologists actually could foresee, like they could look at a child and know if when they get big they might become a criminal, or when they get big they might be a bit wayward and stuff. So if you have these camps in the community, right, it might be a slow process, but in like a decade you could make a major stop to violence. So you like just monitor the kids' behavior in the environment from a small age, right? Like maybe age 5 or stuff in schools. So you actually look how they behave, look how they react to different, look how they react to the abuse and stuff. So you could start like culturing them and counseling them from that age. So you got what you guys think about that?
I think that's a good idea. I think you can tell a lot from young children and like their aggression and stuff that you can see. Yeah.
I agree with that because it
Uh,
helps like discuss feelings and like once again it does like describe like what the children how the children will behave when they get older. So I definitely agree with that like theory of using psychology stuff like that. Yeah, I like it.
yeah, I think it sounds
Yeah, what
good.
about you, Kevin?
It sounds good. I don't. I mean, well, I don't know whether you can actually, forecast how someone is going to behave within their lifetime. It sounds very interesting, but if you can, maybe be there for a child psychologically, mentally, if they need the help, absolutely, it will definitely work. But the idea of forecasting whether or not they're going to be criminals is maybe a little too much. But
Well, my
Well, well, take into consideration that, right? They might be wrong, but like when you're small, like certain act they might be indulging. Like for instance, a kid might just see you just like that, and he might just take something and bore you just like that. You actually see the aggressiveness in him, or sometimes in class, certain small stuff he does, like maybe
like
maybe
tendency.
he might be joking, but like he's like hiding people's stuff and then like giving it back to them the next day. So you could actually start seeing that this child would be like somewhat not. but for society, so you can start speaking to him at that age. So you're not like calling him a criminal because you won't tell him he's a criminal,
Oh,
but you use your professional experience as a psychologist and you work with him. So
well,
to yourself, so that's like a personal some secret to you, the psychologist. You actually like see something is wrong. You won't like tell him you won't tell him he's gonna become a criminal, but you working with that just in case, so like preventing it. So in a sense that his parents will know you have that idea about the child, and you won't share it with anyone. It'll be very confidential, but you work with that child just in case that's the case. You already preventing it, like before it becomes chronic. Like when he's a teenager, you can work. Like teenagers now don't want to listen to you. You can be a psychologist, you can be all a qualified person. Their mind's already set on that. So it's about like bending the limb when it's young. You know, like when a tree is big, you cannot like bend the limb because it's already all grown up and hard. But when it's young, you can bend the limb in which direction you want it to grow. So that's what I'm basically saying.
that's very interesting. Again, I don't know how to feel about that, but that's that really like that works and stuff like that, and we can if you can really kind of diagnose, like you can like really can see certain behaviors that can lead toward it, and you can fix it, or you can help it early on. That's a good thing because we need to be able to, and not cure violence, but need to be able to, stop it
Yeah.
and stop
Yeah.
stop the signs early on. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Again,
of course, this idea will be very slow, right? People might say that violence is already in the air, but it might be over like a 10, 15 years period. You might work with kids because like next 10, 15 years, the kids today will be adults and they will be part of the violence stuff. So if you could deal with you, some organization already will be dealing with the adults who are in the violence, but you're now going to deal with the younger kids. So you like take the violence, like, you're taking out the root of it. The tree is already there, but if you damage the root, then it eventually dies. That's what I'm saying. So it might be sound like a slow way of resolving the problem of violence, but in a few more years to come, it will actually be beneficial to us.
Mhm. Yeah, you got to take into account maybe the factors at home. What are the parents who don't necessarily want something like that, or what are the parents they see that this is happening with their kid, but you know other things psychologically or mentally to the kid are going to affect that even greater, and the doctor maybe is not made aware of that, and that it might still certain things might still affect the kid. It might cause him to do certain things that maybe we don't want him to do or her to do. So, again, maybe forecasting is a little bit much, but I really that's a great if you can really like take the symptoms or take anything, any signs early on and try to like, move them along the line of doing better. I think that's a great idea. You can
Yeah.
do really well.
Yeah.
What about you, Oriana?
I still go with my opinion. I think it's a good idea. Like, even though you can't really like determine and really say that this kid is going to be like this and this kid is going to be like that, if you do see them doing certain actions such as stealing stuff, you know that they're gonna eventually get into the habit thinking that it's a good thing. So it is good for me, like to me, it is good for them to start out young to have those talks about like you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that psychologically and all this other stuff. So yeah, I agree with it.
Miriam?
I think it's a good idea, even if the psychologist can just determine like whether there's like aggressive tendencies in the children, and it's always good for children to have someone to talk to or have someone communicating with them at a young age because like they don't get the chance. Oftentimes, like people's young kids' parents aren't taking them to psychologists like a lot of the time, so like
Yeah.
or they just don't have anyone to talk to. So it's always good like if they have someone to talk to, and even if they weren't going to be like a criminal or something, like aggressive tendencies turn into like
Disasters.
yeah, like certain things in people's lives. Like let's say like they're just like aggressive people, like they could turn to like domestic violence, even if they're not like pointing a gun at someone. It could just be something like in the house that no one would ever think. But because like
Yeah.
it's something like deep rooted when they were young and like they never really talked about it, I can see how that would be a problem. So I think it's definitely a good thing, like just have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically my topic for today. It was very short. It was like a continuation of my last one when we like thinking about the importance to be considered social infectious disease. So it was just like the second part of my topic I just bring it. So it's very short. So that's it for me for now. Until we are called again to do another hangout.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.